What is up, boys? Brady back with another New World video. I just wanted to make a video kind of breaking down my entire build, attribute distribution, strengths and weaknesses of the Firestaff Void Gauntlet build, my mindset going into war, and things like that. So I just wanted to start with gear first. I really don't have a lot of good pieces for my medium set. I am running medium now for war and OPR currently. For open world, I still like to stay light when I can, but for war and OPR, medium just feels way better. The helmet that I'm running is the Harbinger of Nightfall. It just has Con, Refreshing, and Invigorated. It's a decent piece. It doesn't have Resilient, though. My best in slot setup would obviously be every piece having Resilient, but I do not really have a lot of gold to fund that. So the only piece that I have with Resilient is actually just the PvP chest piece. And you could argue that I could just get the entire set from the faction with Resilient on it, just because it's probably better than what I have. But at the same time, I need pieces like this with Nullifying Oblivion, perks for the Void Gauntlet that are just insane. All right, I just got unlucky with the roll. This rolled Int, which is good, and then Focus, which if you are running Focus with this build, then I guess that works. I do not, so this, 9 stats is just getting wasted, but that's all right. And then my pants, I rolled Dex, and that's right, I run 50 Dex. Putrefying Scream, which is a must-have perk for this build. Putrefying Scream is a must-have, and Nullifying Oblivion is a must-have. These are both must-have perks if you're running Void Gauntlet Firestaff, the build that I run. With Void Blade, specifically. I guess they're both good if you don't run Void Blade, yeah. But just Void Gauntlet in general, you want those perks. The boots I have is the Harbinger of Darkness, Refreshing, Invigorated, pretty much the same stats as the helmet. I think you get them from the same mob in Reekwater. But yeah, these will all be replaced with some crafted gear with Resilient, and then X perk and X perk, right? Probably Refreshing, Resilient, and then a couple weapon perks. I still need to get Empowering Fireball perk as well. Here's my necklace. It's actually decent. You just want that health. You just want that health perk with Con or Int or whatever stat you can get on it. Frozen Protection is nice too, I guess, for war against those ice gauntlets. This ring is good as well. Keen Awareness, Infected. I actually had this before the Void Gauntlet was even in the game. And it actually makes sense now, because now my Putrefying Scream disease from my perk actually lasts 14% longer because of the Infected perk. So this kind of works out at the end of the day, to be honest. My earring is good as well. I mean, it's low gear score, but it has the perks that you want, right? Refreshing Toast being the biggest, most important perk for your earring. Post-hit cooldown 26% faster. I think that gets up to... I don't know what that gets up to when it gets to higher gear score. I think 28 or something, but that is a must-have on a necklace. Or sorry, earring. So I'm just taking the low gear score just to get those perks, right? And it has Con on it, so it can work. Here's my Firestaff. This is from Lazarus Instrumentality. It drops. My watermark for my Firestaff is actually 600, so I just need to run Lazarus a little bit more to try to get this higher gear score. The third perk on this at Legendary is not good, though. It's Empower and Meteor Shower, I believe. So I'm going to have to replace this with something else. Best in slot Firestaff. Well, it's going to change in this next patch. I should probably make a video on that. So I'm not going to say anything right now because I do not know for sure what I think is best in slot for Firestaff in terms of perks yet. So I'll do that in an upcoming video. The Void Gauntlet I'm running right now is Nothingness. This is okay for how cheap it costs. It has high base damage because it's legendary. The 10 focus is wasted for me since I don't run focus, but that's fine. I'll just eat that. It has life stealing, enchanted, and mortal siphoning. So mortal siphoning, I mean, it's okay, I guess. Sometimes it's not useless, but it's not fantastic, right? Enchanted and life stealing are both really good though. Life stealing, I don't know how I feel about life stealing yet. It's really good with the Void Blade. And it kind of just meshes well with the Void Gauntlet because there's a lot of things that give you health back. But having lifesteal on this weapon kind of makes me want to try out like a 50 focus build or like a 100 focus build. I just don't know where I would take those attributes out of if I did want to try that at some point. Enchanted is really good too because Void Blade does a shit ton of damage. So you're pretty much just doing 10% more damage with the Void Blade, right? That is the gear that I'm currently running. When I go into war, I put on common honing stones. And tier 4 food. If you have the money to go higher than this, then, that's all you. I could probably do that. My company could probably fund me if I asked, but it's not that huge of a deal for me, so I kind of just run the lower tier stuff for now. And you should probably run the bombs too, the physical resistance. I should probably put that on like a mana potion keybind or something. And the elemental dust if you want to do that as well. But yeah, just make sure you have your health potions, and infuse regeneration potions are really big too for people that don't run them. I wasn't running them for the first like few weeks of launch, and I was trolling. So this is really insane. This is just as important as health potion, right? So yeah, you want to have these on your keybinds for OPR and war. Now to go into stat distribution, attribute distribution, I guess. I always run 150 con right now with this build, just because minus 10% to critical damage taken is just amazing, man. This is super underrated in my opinion. And if you're asking, I'll go over the other ones in a sec. If you're asking how I have 11.5k health, it's because I have 150 con, I have the health perk, and then I also have, there must be a city somewhere that has Hale and Hardy. Yep, there you go. I'm standing in it right now. So Hale and Hardy increases my base HP by 10% for 3 days. And it gives you this bonus wherever you are, an OPR or war or wherever. And since I have a house in Cutlass Keys, I have Hale and Hardy. I do also have a house in Ebuscale Reach. So this has Hale and Hardy too, but they do not stack. But this, you know, if you have 3 houses, it's probably going to be up at some point, right? In one of your houses. So that's how I have 11.5k health. 24 focus because I have a couple pieces that have focus on it, so it's wasted, but yeah. 230 int. When I eat my 30 int food, I go up to 260 int. So I'm just over this, plus 30% duration of damage over time spells, which is actually okay for the Void Gauntlet because your, what is it called? Let me see the name of it real quick. Disintegrate. Your disintegrate stacks that you put on people. It's like a damage over time ability. Or passive, I guess, that happens when you hit people with your Void Blade. So it's actually good to have. I never really go for 300 int anymore unless I'm going like full glass cannon build, which is just a completely different playstyle and completely different build. So, and it's nerfed only plus 10%. And then I run 50 dex for the 5% chance to crit, because crit is really good for the Void Gauntlet. So 150 con, about 260 int when I have my 30 int food, and then 50 dex. And then for my current builds, this has not changed. I've run Void Blade, Oblivion, and Petrifying Scream. And then these, I've seen somebody go, I think, Deadly Range and Refreshing Harvest for CDR. But I just never really do that life tap ability on the Void Gauntlet, the blocking. But if you can get into a really good habit of it, you can get insane CDR. You just already have such high CDR on the Void Gauntlet that I don't really see the point in this, but I don't know, it could be good. And you actually do get some use out of this sometimes, I guess. But instead, I just go for Radiant Efficiency. Just because you can go really fast when you're running Void Gauntlet Fire Staff. And I know this kind of counters the Forsaken Pact, plus 10% damage while below 50% health, or sorry, 50% mana. So you want to be low mana, but at the same time, you don't want to be, right? So like when you are below 50%, you're doing 10% more damage. But it's really, this is really nice just so you don't go like instantly, right? Pressing all 3 of your abilities. And in like those clutch moments that you need enough mana for like a burnout or something, right? Yeah, this build is treating me really well. This passive is also really good, plus 15 stamina per second for self and friendly as well inside the radius of Oblivion. This is just insane for fighting melees. This is, when you watch me sometimes, I dodge a lot. Like dodge, heavy attack, dodge, heavy attack. And this helps a lot with being able to do that. Or just, you know, getting out of sticky situations. I can pop my Oblivion and get some stam back. Putrefying Scream is really good. This is absolutely insane. This just makes you like the tankiest person in the game. This can get up to 30% damage absorption for 10 seconds if you hit 3 people with a Petrifying Scream. So that's insane. And if they're below 50% health, it lasts for 1 second longer. Void Glow is okay. I mean, it does something, right? It's just like a passive. You don't have to think about it. It just, you know, does work on itself. But yeah, this build is about CDR, really high damage with Void Blade, and CC as well, and healing reduction with Putrefying Scream perk. So my Fire Staff build, I think I changed this since last time. I tried Pillar of Fire out for a war. I just do not like it, man. I just wasn't hitting any of them. I don't know. The cast time at the beginning just really just screws with me, man. It just screws the flow of the weapon, in my opinion. So I just don't prefer it. It is a really good ability. I just prefer Incinerate more. Fireball, Burnout, and Incinerate. I think the build last time, I think I had Reheat on, which I don't really see a point in anymore. I somehow just don't go I just figured out how to, I don't know, manage my mana a little bit better compared to when I first started using the Void Gauntlet. So, I think I put a point in combat speed instead of Reheat now. And the reason I don't have Singe in Watch and Burn is because apparently these are glitched. I heard they're glitched or bugged to where this actually reduces your crit chance by like 10% or something. And that this doesn't work correctly. So this is what people told me. I didn't test it myself. This is just what I've heard from multiple people. So those are two perks I do not run because of that, but they are both good perks. Like I would definitely run Watch and Burn if it was working correctly. Maybe Singe, I don't know. I don't really light attack often, but yeah, that is the Fire Staff build. All right, for the strengths and the weaknesses of this build, mostly going to be about the Void Blade, specifically. One of the strengths of this weapon combo is the high and consistent damage that it can bring to the table. As long as you have Void Blade up, you can just do insane amount of damage to pretty much anyone that you run into. You can face-to-face melee weapons, Great Axe, Hammer. You can just face-to-face and just out-damage them 90% of the time. Yeah, it's just really good damage, pretty much all across the board. Another strength is its utility, the healing reduction that Putrefying Scream brings. So as long as you have that perk, this is a strength of the weapon. The healing reduction that Putrefying Scream brings is really good. The team play capabilities that the Void Gauntlet has, dropping Oblivion and giving Empower to pretty much anyone that is in your Oblivion is just insane damage increase. And then the tankiness of this weapon can be really high as well. If you can get some fortified stacks going from Petrifying Scream hitting 3 people, you can just have insane fortifying damage absorption that you can just sit and just tank damage and just melee swing forever, man, and things will just die. And another strength is that it is a ranged and a melee build. So if you need to be enraged, you have the Fire Staff. You can stay on the back line if you're low health, or you know, if the situation calls for it. You have a really good ranged weapon at your disposal, right, with the Fire Staff. I was running Pillar Fire here, by the way. This is the war that I tried Pillar Fire and I did not like it. So if you're wondering about that, I do run Incinerate pretty much permanently now. For the weaknesses, it has really low mobility. You pretty much rely on Burnout to get out of sticky situations if you get caught out. So if Burnout is on a cooldown and you get caught in a grav well, you're pretty much just dead. If there's multiple people hitting you, unless you can get a Petrifying Scream off, and maybe you can live through that. But you pretty much just rely on Burnout to get out of things and live. Another weakness is if you miss Petrifying Scream in certain situations, if they iframe it or something, you might just die. You will most likely, you know, not be able to get as much damage out as you could in other cases if you do land Petrifying Scream. So that is a really big weakness. You kind of rely on Petrifying Scream to confirm a lot of damage with the Void Blade specifically. Another weakness is you are pretty reliant on your Void Blade cooldown, which is not a horrible thing because you have a lot of CDR with the Void Gauntlet as well.
Why can't I jump yet?
So if your Void Blade is on cooldown, you have really high CDR to be able to get Void Blade back, right? But if you don't have Void Blade up, you probably just shouldn't have the Void Gauntlet out. You kind of want to use Petrifying Scream and Oblivion when you have your Void Blade off cooldown, so you can Petrifying Scream Oblivion into Void Blade, right? Otherwise, kind of just keep your Fire Staff out the majority of the time. Alright, so for the playstyle of this build, this war is on offense in Brightwood, I believe. Your main goal when you're playing Fire Staff Void Gauntlet, specifically with the Void Blade, is to try to get to the backline and basically single people out as quickly as you can. So we make a push over to A. I just do some range there with the Fire Staff as I can, pushing up to the right, just to try to get away from like the massive pack of people. I push to the backline, I see this guy by himself. It's a mage, so I Petrify and Scream him, and I just 100-0 him just like that. And now I'm staying in the backline, I'm still pushing back. Just trying to get in some of the cloth wearers, like the light armor wearers in the back, and just soloing people out, basically, is the biggest goal. If you see your teammates back there as well, try to play with them. So now I'm playing with this Great Axe player on my team here. And you kind of just go from right to left or left to right. As good as you can. If you push up a little bit too much, you can get caught out. So kind of just kill whatever's closest to you, right? And always keep an eye on that cooldown of your petrifying scream too, because that's basically like the opener of getting a kill on somebody. If you can land a scream on somebody, you can just almost 100-0 them. Sometimes depends on their weapons that they're running and if they're in light or medium, etc. I got low a little bit, so I kind of ran out for a sec to try to get some health back real quick, and now I'm kind of pushing up again. You can pretty much take a 1v1 duel with anybody that you see, to be honest. A bow player, rapier player, anybody. And you should always kind of keep burnout in your back pocket as basically just like an escape mechanic when you need it. Try your best to not burn out aggressively. Always just save it for like a defensive getaway ability. So I think my team here made a call to kind of push back a little bit. And then he said push up to A. Now, so I burn out here aggressively, which might bite me in the butt later, because now I don't have that in my back pocket to get away from people. But again, I'm still kind of pushing the back line, just fighting whatever's closest to me with my melee players. Incinerate is nasty for this build, man, for things like that. Playing in medium with this build is also a lot better than playing in light, in my opinion, for war specifically. Just having 3 iframes to your disposal is just really good for when you get caught in clumps like this. So I might die here. Nope, I got popped back up. I'm still just fighting. So if I was in light there, I would have been dead 100%. So I fall here.
If I lived there, man, that was actually kind of decent, boys.
So looking back at this, I should have tried to just get out of that as quickly as I could and just rush the backline instead of just sitting there and fighting their tanky melee players in our backline, right? So here on this push on B, again, I'm pushing out to the left side. I'm not just running to the middle, doing some damage with the fire staff. I see an opening. I try to solo some people out here. I get 2 people in the petrifying scream, which is huge. This guy goes down. You can always use that thrust to gap close a little bit too. So there's nobody close. You can kind of just pull your fire stuff out and try to get some rage damage out. The only reason I burn out here aggressively is because I see a lot of my team kind of pushing their backline. So I thought it was going to be okay if I did that. So here I'm pushing the backline again. I see a lot of people on one of my teammates up here. I got a massive petrifying scream here. I think I got, yep, 3 stacks of fortify. So I'm incredibly tanky now. Instead of potting there, I should have just auto-attacked because how many stacks of fortify I had. Another double petrifying scream, so I got 20% damage absorption here. And always kind of just like twisting in some dodges to gap close in between light attacks and heavy attacks with the void blade. I think somebody made a call to push point here, so I just burn out onto point, just get an incinerate out to knock people back off the point. Pushing backline again. I see that my petrifying scream is almost up, so I'm just focusing on soloing players out. Double petrifying scream. This is where the void blade is really good right here, guys. I'm just causing a lot of havoc in the back here. And always just kind of just twisting in some iframes. Kind of a pointless burnout there, but that's alright. You can just be super annoying in the backline with this build, guys. That is the primary goal here. Just 100-0ing people. It can't really do a lot of AoE damage unless you just get in a massive clump of people. And you can just melee like 3 or 4 people at a time. But that doesn't happen very often. It's just solo singling out damage is where this build shines. And that concludes the video for me, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching to the end if you are still here. Go ahead and drop a like on the video if you liked it. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I would very much appreciate it, guys. And I will catch you in the next video. Peace.